In 1912, John Perry started an architectural practice. His vision was not only to create buildings that would distinguish, but importantly, embrace a philosophy of continuity and custodianship, and thereby create an architectural legacy that would never die. He succeeded, and although the name may have changed repeatedly since then to KMH Architects as it's known today, the culture has remained strong and intact. This is its story. After just a few years, architectural accolades came quickly for John Perry. Between 1920 and 1923, while partnering with Clifford Stocks, he scooped first place for the Pinelands Garden City, Winchester Mansions, and was lauded for a host of other designs. Then Perry decided to go it alone, designing buildings for Standard Bank around the country. He also founded the South African Society of Artists and was elected president of the Cape Institute of Architects in 1926. A year later, he received a coveted Freeburn nomination. In the same year that the Empire State Building stood head and shoulders above the rest as the world's tallest building, John Perry was also proudly standing tall. In 1931, he had collaborated with St. Clair Lightfoot and won accolades for their collaborative masterpiece, the Johannesburg Public Library. Later, as a sinister force began looming large in Europe, Perry and Lightfoot devoted their attentions to Herbert Baker's National Mutual Life Assurance of Australasia building in Church Square, Cape Town, a work of art that attracted much attention thanks to its dignity and solidity. The pair also took top honours for the Johannesburg Magistrates Court, Robertson's Boys High School and the British High Commission building in Cape Town in 1936, which was awarded the Cape Institute of Architects Bronze Medal Award in 1938. Meanwhile, in 1938, another soon-to-be key player in the KMH history was quietly sharpening his pencils at architectural school in Warsaw, Poland. His name was Maciek Misiewski. A little while later, all hell broke loose. Maciek, also a trained pilot, downed his pencils and took to the skies to do his bit for the war effort, flying over 30 missions, including the famous 1000 bomber raid. In 1945, as Germany and Japan finally threw in the towel, and peace reigned the world over, Horace Twentyman Jones joined Perry and Lightfoot, and the following year, Lightfoot was elected president of the Institute of South African Architects. In the late 40s, with a distinguished war record, Maciek emigrated to Cape Town and began working with the now newly named Lightfoot, Twentyman and Jones. Hal Kent became a partner in 1951, the same year that the firm won an SAIA award for the legendary Grand Hotel. The practice won the commission for the Red Cross War Memorial Children's Hospital in 1950, and its association with the hospital continues to this day. In 1962, Tony Hockley joined the practice, which was just about to take off like never before, using creative diversity and an ingenious depth of design talent. As Martin Luther King shouted his dream from the rooftops thousands of miles away, back home the firm expanded its education and city building portfolio with significant work, such as the Jagger Library at the University of Cape Town, the internationally famous Bishops and Herschel Schools, and the Parliament Chambers in Cape Town. The firm pioneered the first fast-track project in South Africa, the Nico Milan Theatre, now called Artscape. It also became involved with the South African Museum. In 1972, the firm became Kent Mishevsky, Hockley and Partners, with Mishevsky elected as the president of the Cape Provincial Institute of Architects, during a time in which the world was seeing a new and exciting era in architecture, as well as in technology. In 1977, Mishevsky for a moment swapped his pencils for a typewriter to pen a book, The Quality of Life as Illustrated by Architecture. At the same time, the firm's Mutual Place in Sea Point added a bronze medal to its now growing trophy cabinet. Abroad, Richard Rogers unveils the famous Pompidou Centre in Paris. The 80s brought with it many mind-boggling crazes and also inspired a lot of new out-of-the-box thinking. And the firm's IGI headquarters on Church Square and the Western Cape's regional headquarters for Eskom hinted strongly at its willingness to also go all out with new thinking. It was also a time to expand, and in 1981 the firm spread its wings to Johannesburg. It also had no plans to close its trophy cabinet just yet either, as Hull Kent proudly added his SAIA Medal of Distinction for services to the profession. In 1984, Hull Kent decides to call it a day, and the firm is now 5 partners strong. Maciek Mishevsky, Tony Hockley, Owen Dolby, Mike Cook and Glenn Loudon. The era comes to a close with a firm now known simply as KMH Architects. One of the significant architectural contributions was a 3-phase redevelopment of the old Mutual head office from 1989 to 1994, during which time Maciek Mishevsky retires.
That's facts.
Freedom is the buzzword for the 90s, and partner Mike Cook decides to retire, with Mark Rosenbaum and Andrew Rudolph becoming the next partners. Madiba is sworn in to lead his new and free country under a bright Rainbow Nation uniting banner.
KMH may have reached its centenary this year, but the transformation in the practice over the last decade has been even more remarkable. For more than 80 years, it has operated as a GP practice, with each partner looking after a wide range of clients with needs varying from homes to opera houses. And the Cape Town office was always located within easy walking distance of the City and Civil Services Club, which provided a regular supply of both clients and refreshments. The social and political changes taking place in the country at that time were clearly mirrored by the changes in KMH. Lisa Blaine, our first female partner in 87 years of practice, was appointed in 1999, and it was Lisa who grew the commercial side of our service, which led to the opening of the KMH Sandton practice. What started as a one-woman office in 2007 has grown to a healthy complement of 13 staff in 2012. The strong growth was expedited by the appointment of Wayne Mansfield as the second partner in our Joburg office and our first black partner. In addition to a strong project management background, Wayne leads our sustainable architecture portfolio, and today the practice is organized into specialist portfolios, with each partner having developed a sharp focus and expertise on particular building types. Clear focus on our staff complement has also seen transformation taking place over the last decade, and currently KMH is certified with a BEE Service Level 2, with every intention of going one better next year.
The firm too has embraced a fresh, free-thinking attitude, clearly evident in many of its award-winning projects, and in the appointment of its new young partners, Rod Stevens, David Townsend and Lisa Blaine.
KMH has done some significant buildings in Joburg over the last years, but they've all been done from the Cape Town office. And it was only fairly recently that we decided to take the plunge and open an office up here in Joburg. My partners very kindly volunteered me to do the honours. We now have a staff of 13, with 5 of us actually originating at various points in time from the Cape Town office. And this has meant a great continuity in terms of our core values and the way we work being carried through to both offices. Very important to us. Of course, the people are who we are, they are our business, but we also believe as partners that the practice must come before the individual. So whilst as partners we run the business, we do carry a baton which must be handed over to the next generation. I believe it's this that will help carry us into the future.
BA 6410 to Johannesburg, traveling.
In the last 12 years, KMH has completed a lot of projects in the transport sector, most significant of which is the Central Terminal building at Cape Town International Airport, which is where I'm standing now. To do a project of this size, and it took 5 years to do, one develops a range of skills, one develops resources, one develops really treasured relationships with clients, with consultants and with contractors, all of which we've accomplished with great success. Simultaneously, led by Sean Hayden, who became a KMH partner in 2006, KMH was also able to tenant the building with its specialist commercial and retail team doing the tenant fit out of the building. I think all of this really has led to a new beginning, a new century ahead of KMH, and it's a road ahead which leaves a legacy for the practice, it leaves a legacy for the client, it leaves a legacy for the city and for everyone who uses the airport.
It's the new millennium and the perfect time for Tony Hockley to hand over the reins after 30 years as a partner, and David Townsend immigrates to Europe. Our service philosophy is to create architecture that inspires. It's distinctive in design, sensitive to the nuances of place, precedent and environment, and meets our clients' project brief, design, budget and program requirements.
Architectural design in KMH is at an interesting point in time if you consider our roots extend far back into a period where time was afforded to the art of architecture. We now practice in a world where time is a preciously traded commodity. Elements like value engineering in the face of budget constraints are daily grapplings in our design work. Coupled with worldly affairs and stark environmental realities, design work into the future is certainly challenging. The introduction of new building codes require architects today to learn fast and adapt quickly in their daily design work. It seems a daunting environment and a challenging future for all of us, but KMH has proven to be a practice that has weathered many a storm in its history and practiced through more adverse periods. We've grown and matured through those and enriched ourselves with those experiences. I consider myself fortunate to be part of such rich heritage and look forward to being part of KMH's commitment to a quality design service and product for all our clients well into the next 100 years.
The future of KMH is as bright and filled with possibilities as it started out in 1912, and that's based purely on the fact of our founding pioneers and the core values that were instilled within the practice. That being of integrity, credibility and a deep passion for our profession and our craft, our country and our cities that we live in. And one of the big things that KMH prides itself on is the fact that every project, regardless of scale or budget, is treated with the same respect, in that it's a collective group effort, and that together with over 100 years experience, we seek to find that coherent and logical solution to all our design challenges.